All right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below in the description so that you can follow along. All right, here we are in the QBO Gym. The QBO Gym is a place where we have numerous exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Every single month, we come out with new exercises for you to practice your skills, and we break it down into 4 different sections. Today, we're working in the January cool down section. At the top here is an animated video to give you a synopsis of what's going on in Craig's world this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive quiz to test your knowledge as it does relate to the video up above. Below that are the exercises within this section. And then at the bottom is an optional area where after you have completed the exercises, we do have some sample posts that you can use on LinkedIn to share with everybody what you have learned so far. So let's get started today with practicing dealing with a reconciliation discrepancy. Go ahead and click on the link there to get the exercise pulled up for you. I have it over here on the right-hand side, so let's see our scenario. You have received Craig's most recent MasterCard statement and started to reconcile his account. When you go to the reconcile screen, however, you receive an error message that says your account isn't ready to reconcile yet. Your beginning balance is off by negative $240.55. How did this happen and what can you do about it? Let's take a look. We are going to be working in the sample company. Now, if you're not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, just go ahead and click on the link below in the description. I have it here on the left side of my screen. This is the sample company, and specifically, this is the dashboard. So let's get started with the exercise. Now, this error happened because someone already made changes to transactions that had already been reconciled. To reproduce the error in the sample company, the first thing we need to do is reconcile. Before we can reconcile, however, we need to process the bank transactions. So for the purpose of this exercise, we are only going to pay attention to the Tanya's nursery transaction. So from the left navigation bar, we're going to hover over transactions and then click on bank transactions. So over here on the left-hand side is transactions. Hover over that and click on bank transactions. Bank transactions is also a bookmark, so you could have clicked on that as well to get to the same page. Now you will get a pop-up here. This is an overview from QuickBooks. They are just giving you a little tour of what this area is all about. Go ahead and click on the X to remove it. We're going to click on the MasterCard tile since that is the statement we are looking at. I need to click the arrow here to click on MasterCard. If your screen is all the way across versus mine where I'm only got part of it and so that I have the exercise here, you may not need to click on the arrow, but you do want to find that MasterCard tile. Go ahead and click on that. You know that is the one that you are on because it will turn blue. Now on the Tanya's Nursery transaction in the action column, we're going to click match. Here's that action column and here is Tanya's Nursery. Go ahead and click on match. Now that we process the bank feed, we are going to reconcile the account. Now let's click on go to bank register right here. If you get any pop-ups, just go ahead and click out of them. QBO is just trying to be extra helpful. Now we are going to click on reconcile right here. And this register right here that you see, this is the one for the MasterCard. So click on reconcile. And when you do, you will get a couple of welcome messages. These are, again, overviews that QBO provides. If this is your first time reconciling, you won't see it again after you do it the first time. So go ahead and click on Get Started. You'll get one more pop-up. Once again, go ahead and click on Let's Get Reconciled. Now, in the beginning balance field, we're going to type $157.72. So let's do that. 157.72. And then in the ending date, we're going to type a lowercase t to automatically show today's date. Go ahead and do that. Now, normally you would enter the ending date that is on the bank statement here, but since the dates in the sample company are always changing, we're just going to use today's date as the default. And one thing left to note here, it says here account MasterCard. And the reason that it's already defaulting to the MasterCard is because we were in the MasterCard register before and we clicked on reconcile from there. If we got onto this reconciliation screen a different way, you may have needed to make the adjustment. But since we did it directly from the register, that is why it is showing up here. So we're all good to go. Let's go ahead and click on Start Reconciling. Now, in the far right, oh, well, before we do that, if you get any pop-ups, just go ahead and click on out of those. I feel like I've been saying that nonstop in this exercise. QBO is just trying to be really helpful for us. So what I want you to do now is in the far right column of the transaction grid, go ahead and click on the circle at the top to select all the transactions, and then click on Yes, Select All when we get that pop-up. Go ahead and click on that to select all. You will get this a warning from QBO. We do want to select all, so go ahead and click on that. And it's showing a difference of 0. We're going to go ahead and click on the Finish Now on the top right corner, and then we're going to click Done when the pop-up appears. Go ahead and do that Finish Now, and this pop-up will appear. As a note here, in real life scenario, you would have an opportunity to attach a statement here. There would be a button that says attach statement. You can always do this, and it doesn't hurt to have that extra paper documentation attached here. In the sample company, they don't offer that, so that's why there's nothing there. So go ahead and click on Done. And now let's take a look at how reconciling affected the register. We're going to click on Credit Card Register, which is right here. Once again, you're getting lots of pop-ups. Like me, go ahead and click out of them. So in the second column from the right indicates the reconciliation status of each transaction. Now, those marked with an R, as you can see, which is all of them now, they have been reconciled. This column also indicates with a green box symbol that a transaction has been matched to a bank transaction. This is reflected on the Tanya's Nursery transaction that we matched in an earlier step. So if I scroll down a little bit, you see here, this is the Tanya's Nursery one, and here is that reconciliation, and here is that little green box that again indicates that it was matched to a bank transaction. Now that we are all set up, let's recreate the problem and error message that Craig had saw. There are 3 ways to affect the reconciliation balance and cause the error. 1, change the R to something else. 2, change the amount of a reconciled transaction. Or 3, delete a reconciled transaction. So let's do each of these to recreate Craig's problem. First, we want to click on the last Tanya's Nursery transaction, which is expense 3, in the amount of $158.08. So go ahead and do that. That is the last one down here on the bottom for me. I'm going to click on that to make it editable. And then we are going to click on the R, which is right here, to remove it. Go ahead and do that. And then we are going to click on Save. Now, after saving, you will receive a pop-up warning about editing the transaction that was already reconciled. We are creating this problem, so that's okay. You can go ahead and click on the Yes button to proceed. Now we're going to click on the second Tanya's Nursery transaction, expense 22 for $54.92. So that one is right here, expense 22, Tanya's Nursery 54.92. Go ahead and click on that. Now in the charge field right here, we are going to change this to $54.90. So click into it and make that adjustment. And then you can go ahead and click on Save. Once again, you are going to get a pop-up warning from QBO, just the same way as before. You want to proceed, so go ahead and click on Yes. Now, finally, we have the first one that's on this list for Tanya's Nursery, expense 50, so in the amount of $82.45. Let's scroll down until we find that one. That is right here. That is the one that we had matched before in the feed. Go ahead and click on that one to expand it, and this time we are going to click on Delete. Now, this time you will get 2 warnings. One, because you are deleting a transaction that is linked to a bank transaction. transaction. And the other, well, let's do yes, click yes first. And the other because you are deleting a transaction that has been reconciled. So we want to click yes on those. So click yes 2 times. And now let's go try to reconcile this account. Click on reconcile up here again. Now you will note that this time you are receiving the same error that Craig had saw, which is right here. Luckily, you know what to do about it. So go ahead and click on We Can Help You Fix It right there. And this is the reconciliation discrepancy report. Now, this report shows you exactly which transactions were changed and how they were changed. Two of them are very easy to fix. The first transaction was unreconciled in the register, which means that somebody had removed the R, so we can easily put that one back. Let's go ahead and click on the first transaction, the $158.08, to expand it. Go ahead and do that. And then in the empty reconciliation box, we're going to click on it until we get an R. First time you click it, you will get a C, which is for cleared, and then you click it again to get an R for reconciled. Go ahead and click on save once you have done that. And now that one has disappeared. The second item, which is now the first one here because we just resolved the previous one, had the amount changed. Now you can see what it was before and what it is now. So we can easily change this back. Let's go ahead and click on that transaction to expand it. Here it is what it was. Here is what we changed it to. And then this is the difference that it is showing between the two of them. So in the amount box, let's go ahead and change it back to the way it was so that it says 54.92. And then we can go ahead and click on save. And now that one has been fixed as well. Now the final item is a little trickier because now you have to add it back in. So we're going to click on view to see the audit history of the transaction. It's going to open up a new URL tab and show every change that has been made to the transaction. You can see it right here. I'm going to X out of this so that we can see a little bit more information here. Now you'll scroll to the bottom of the list and make note of the date of the original transaction. Note that your date is going to be different than what you see for the remainder of this exercise, and also that the date in the transaction history on the right is not the date of the original transaction. So we're going to scroll down to the bottom so that we can see this is the original transaction. For me, I see that the date is on December 8th, 2023. Your date is going to be different depending on when you are doing this exercise and watching this video. So be sure to note whatever date this is, as we will need it when we are re-entering the transaction. So now we need to, as I mentioned, re-enter the deleted transaction. We're going to leave the audit history URL tab open and then return to the original URL tab and click on the X on the upper right corner. So click back into this tab and then we're going to click on this X right up here so that we close the reconciliation discrepancy report. Now let's create that expense again. So click on the plus new button and then click on expense. That is right up here. Click on that and then under vendors, click on expense. Now, using the using the information from the audit history URL tab, we're going to recreate the expense. Now, remember, we are using the MasterCard account. Make sure you are using the date from your audit history, not the date shown in this exercise. And then once it's complete, we're going to click on Save and Close. So let's go ahead and choose in the payee. It is Tanya's Nursery. So click on Tanya's. We need to adjust this payment right here, our payment account, to MasterCard. And now let's go back to this audit history here. And we see that this is for job expenses, job materials, plants, and soil for $82.45. So let's go into this. We need to make this a little more informative or change this a little bit so that it's plants and soil in the underneath job materials. And then the amount we said once again was $82.45. So click into this amount, $82.45. And one thing here that I completely skipped over but need to do is to do the date of the original transaction. So that for me is December 8th, 2023. So I'm going to go back and select that. And now everything has been done correctly. So now we can simply save and close. Click on the green Save and Close button. And now that expense has been saved. Now, when you deleted the transaction, it unmatched from the bank feed. So now let's go back and match it again. We're going to click on the Bank Transactions tab, which is right here. And then the MasterCard tile should already be selected, which it is. And then on the Tanya's nursery transaction in the action column, once again, we are going to click on match. This one is showing as a match, which is perfect. Click on match. And now that one has been matched. So let's go back to the bank register. Click on that. Even though we were already here, you're going to get more pop-ups. So go ahead and click out of those. And now you'll notice that the reconciliation status is now C for this transaction. I'm going to scroll over until I find it, which is right here. It is showing as C, and that is because when you matched it in the bank feed, it became cleared. Just change this to an R for reconcile. And clear just means that it's come through the bank, and reconciled means that we have matched what is at the bank into matched what is in QBO and the bank. We've matched it, and we've now reconciled it. That's why we call it reconciled versus cleared, which just means that it has come through from the bank. So we already know how to do this. So go ahead and click on Tanya's nursery to expand it. We're going to click on this C one more time so that it is now showing as reconciled. Click on the green Save button. And when you do, you will get those pop-up warnings again. We want to click yes to both of the warnings that have come up here. All right, so now that that has been saved, let's go back and try to reconcile. Click on the green Reconcile button. And when you do, you will notice that there is no more error. We have fixed all of the problems. Now note here that you could choose not to change the reconciliation status directly in the register. If you had not changed it there, then when you got to the reconcile screen, you would have seen another error. So you would click, we can help you fix it like you did in the previous step. And then you would then change the reconciliation status from the report, just like you did in the previous transaction. So basically what we're saying here is that if you had just not changed it to reconcile on the previous screen that we just did, and instead you just went right to reconcile and you came to the screen, you would have received that error again. Now you would have just clicked on that we can help you fix it link, just like we did earlier on in the exercise, and then it would have shown you exactly that same one that you needed to change from cleared to reconcile. So you would have done it there, fixed it, and then come back to this, and you would have gotten a screen like this that did not have any error with it. And that is how you would troubleshoot some beginning balances. And if you have any questions or want to know more about the QBO Gym, just go ahead and click on the link below in the description. We have one final exercise in the cool down section where we will fix a problem with closing the books. And I will see you in the next video.